Hello everyone, welcome to Mastermind. Today let us learn more about physical geography by solving few more multiple choice questions. This is the fourth video in the series of videos on physical geography. Please follow this series religiously because there could be at least 4 to 5 questions on this series of videos. So let us get started now. First question says, which of the following statements is or are true regarding plateau? Antrim Plateau of Northern Ireland is an example for tectonic plateau. Northwestern region of the Deccan Plateau is an example for volcanic plateau. Columbia Snake Plateau is an example for volcanic plateau. Here, statement A is false, statement B and C are right. Therefore, the right option is option 2, B and C only. What is the meaning of tectonic plateau? Tectonic plateau are the plateaus that are formed by earth movements. They are formed by earth movements. The name tectonic indicates earth movements, and these earth movements cause uplift and are normally of a considerable size, and they form fairly uniform altitude. So they form fairly uniform altitude due to earth movements. When the land uplifts, then plateaus are formed. Such plateaus are known as tectonic plateaus, and they will be of considerable size and fairly uniform altitudes. So, if you look at this question here, Antrim Plateau of Northern Ireland is an example for tectonic plateau is false. So, the Deccan Plateau in India is an example for tectonic plateau. Antrim Plateau of Northern Ireland is an example for volcanic plateau. What is the meaning of volcanic plateau? When molten lava that comes from the interior of the Earth's crust and spread over the surface. When molten lava comes out and spread over the surface, they form elevated surfaces or elevated highlands, resulting in the creation of volcanic plateau. So, when molten lava issues from the Earth's crust and spreads over its surface to form successive sheets, one layer, two layer, three layer, four layer. When it goes on adding layer by layer to the originally existing layer, it forms in the generation of successive sheets of basaltic lava which solidify to form a plateau. So this plateau is known as volcanic plateau, and the better known volcanic plateau is the Antrim Plateau of the Northern Ireland. Northwestern region of the Deccan Plateau is also an example for volcanic plateau, and also Columbia Snake Plateau, which covers an area almost twice that of Malaysia, is also an example for volcanic plateau. So please remember the difference between tectonic plateau and volcanic plateau. There are three kinds of plateau. Please remember, very important. The first one is the tectonic plateau, which is formed due to earth movements. The second is volcanic plateau, which is formed as a result of accumulation of successive layers of lava. And the third is the dissected plateau, which is formed due to denudation or the agents of denudation. Second question says, which of the following statements is or are true regarding plateau? Dissected plateau are formed through the continual process of weathering and erosion by the agents of denudation. Scottish Highlands is an example for a dissected plateau. Bolivian plateau is an example for a tectonic plateau. So here all the three statements are correct. That's the right option. Options for A, B and C. What is a dissected plateau? Dissected plateau are the plateaus that are formed through the continual process of weathering and erosion by the agents of denudation, such as running water, running water, ice and winds. So through this high and extensive plateau are usually gradually worn down. They are usually gradually worn down, and their surfaces become irregular. And such humid highlands, stream action, and sometimes glaciation cut deep, narrow valleys in the plateau, which are then described as dissected plateau. So there will be narrow valleys that are formed due to the action of winds, ice, etc. Such narrow valleys in the plateau are described as dissected plateau. Scottish Highlands is a very good example for dissected plateau, while Bolivian plateau is an example for a tectonic plateau. Please remember, Bolivian plateau is a very good example for Intermont Plateau. If you want to know the meaning of Intermont Plateau and the connection of Intermont Plateau with the tectonic plateau, please watch one of the earlier videos. Third question says, consider the following statements regarding plains. A plain is an area of a lowland, either level or undulating. The plains are usually sparsely populated regions of the world. Statement A is correct, statement B is wrong. Therefore, the right option is option 1, A only. Now, you know what is a plateau. Plateau means elevated land. So, they are very high in comparison to the sea level. However, now we will see what are plains. Plains is an area of lowland. It is an area of lowland either it could be level or undulating, and these seldom rises more than a few hundred feet above sea level. So they are not extremely high above sea level, whereas when it comes to plateaus, they are extremely high in comparison to the sea level. So a plain is an area of a lowland. It is an area of lowland, either level or undulating, and the plains are usually extremely populated regions of the world because they are fertile. Usually, plains are fertile. Example, Gangetic Plain. Please remember, Gangetic Plain is also a plain and it is one of the richly populated regions of the world. Fourth question says, which of the following statements is or not true regarding plateau? Plateaus contain some of the rich mineral resources in the world and are actively mined. The African plateau contains diamond. Deccan plateau contains deposits of manganese, coal, and iron. Plateau of Western Australia is rich in gold. Here, all the four statements are correct. Therefore, the right option is option 4, A, B, C, and D. Many of the world's plateau have rich mineral resources and also they are actively mined. The African plateau yields gold. It yields gold, diamonds, copper, manganese, and chromium. Deccan Plateau is another example for plateau and it has deposits of manganese, coal, and iron, while the plateau of Western Australia is rich in gold as well as iron. In the Brazilian plateau, there are huge resources of iron and manganese. So, Brazilian plateau is famous for iron and manganese. Consider the fifth question now. Consider the following statements regarding structural plains. Plains are the structurally depressed areas of the world. Central lowlands of Australia are an example of structural plains. So, here both the statements are correct. Therefore, the right option, option 3, both A and B. However, statement A would have been wrong if plains are the all structurally depressed areas of the world only. So, plains are the only structurally depressed areas of the world. No, plains are formed due to deposition as well as erosion. They are not only structurally depressed, but they are formed due to deposition as well as erosion. So there are three types of plains. They are structural plains, depositional plains, and erosional plains. Structural, depositional, and erosional. So plains are only structurally depressed is a wrong statement. However, plains are structurally depressed areas of the world is correct, and these structural plains are the structurally depressed areas of the world that make up some of the most extensive natural lowlands on the Earth's surface. They are formed by horizontally bedded rocks relatively undisturbed. These horizontally bedded rocks are relatively undisturbed by the crustal movements of the earth. So example is Great Plains of USA, Great Plains of USA, Central Lowlands of Australia, and also the Russian platform. Sixth question says, which of the following statements is or not true regarding depositional planes? Depositional planes are formed by the deposition of materials brought by various agents of transportation. Alluvial plains are an example for depositional plains. They are fertile irrespective of the sediments laid down. So here statement A and B are correct. Statement C is wrong. Therefore, the right option is option 1, A and B only. Depositional planes are the planes that are formed by the deposition of materials. Keyword is deposition of materials that have been brought by various agents of transportation. They are comparatively level. So these depositional planes are comparatively level in comparison to structural plains and erosional plains. So they are comparatively level and they rise gently towards adjacent islands. Their fertility and economic development depend greatly on the types of sediments that are laid down. So they are fertile irrespective of the sediments laid down is wrong. Their fertility depends greatly on the types of sediments that are laid down by the agents of transportation. And alluvial plains are a very good example for depositional plains. Seventh question says, consider the following statements regarding depositional plains. Alluvial plains, deltaic plains, and flood plains are the examples of depositional plains. Depositional plains form one of the most productive agricultural plains of the world. So both the statements are correct here. The right option is option 3, both A and B. So some of the largest depositional plains are due to deposition of large rivers. Active erosion in the upper course. If this is a river, then the active erosion in the upper course results in large quantities of alluvium being brought down to the lower course. So the materials that are eroded here will be laid down in the lower reaches. So it will be deposited in the lower reaches forming plains. These plains are known as depositional plains. So these materials, when they are deposited in the lower reaches, they form alluvial plains, flood plains, and deltaic plains. So these are examples for depositional plains, and these form the most productive agricultural plains of the world. They are intensively tilled and also very densely populated. They are also densely populated. For example, Nile Delta of Egypt. Nile Delta of Egypt. It is noted for rice and cotton cultivation. Rice as well as cotton cultivation. Ganges Delta or the Gangetic Delta. It is known as the Gangetic Delta in India. Even this is very well known for rice and jute cultivation. Rice as well as jute. While the plain of North China, where the Huanghe River deposits Huanghe River has spread out, has thick mantle of alluvium, and it supports a wide range of crops over here. Eighth question says match the following with plain with the country. Nile Delta, East Anglia, Yangtze Plain, England, China, Egypt. So here Nile Delta belongs to Egypt. So 1 C. East Anglia is in England. 2 A. Yangtze Plain is in China. 3 B. So 1C, 2A, 3B. Option 4 is the right option here. Ninth question says, which of the following statements is or true regarding rocks? Quartzite gets metamorphosed to sandstone, granite gets metamorphosed to gneiss, shale gets metamorphosed to schist. So here statement A is false, B and C are right. Therefore, the right option is option 2, B and C only. If you have watched one of the earlier videos on physical geography, you will be able to answer this. So granite gets metamorphosed to gneiss, shale gets metamorphosed to schist, sandstone gets metamorphosed to quartzite. It's the other way around. Quartzite doesn't get metamorphosed to sandstone, but sandstone, after undergoing metamorphosis, it becomes quartzite. So just like this, coal gets metamorphosed to graphite, right? Graphite. Limestone gets metamorphosed to marble. Limestone becomes marble, and clay after metamorphosis becomes slate. Clay becomes slate. So please remember, these are very, very important. These questions have been asked umpteen number of times in the past examinations, ranging from police constable to IAS. That's why I have repeated this question. Last question for the day says, consider the following statements regarding plains. Erosional plains are carved by the agents of erosion. Peneplains and peneplains are examples of depositional plains. Here, statement A is correct, statement B is false. Therefore, the right option is option 1A only. So, erosional plains are carved by the agents of erosion. And then, what is a peneplain? So, the plains are carved by the agents of erosion. Erosional plains are the plains that are carved by the agents of erosion. So, agents of erosions are rains, and then rivers, ice, wind, etc. So, when the agents of erosion act for millions of years, they smooth out the irregularities of the Earth's surface. So, in terms of millions of years, even high mountains can be reduced to low undulating plains. If you look at the figure over here, this mountain, this is the level of the mountain. So after undergoing millions of years of erosion, it has been reduced to this level. So if you look at this particular picture over here, it is almost plain, but not exactly plain. So after millions of years of erosion, even high mountains can be reduced to low undulating plains. Such planes of denudation are described as peneplain, meaning almost plain, meaning almost plain. So now what is peneplain? In arid and semi-arid regions like deserts, wind deflation, remember, wind deflation sweeps away much of the eroded desert materials. There will be eroded desert materials in the desert. So when wind acts on these desert materials, debris, the wind sweeps away all these eroded desert materials to a different place. Thus, the land gets lower. Lowering of the level of the land and results in the formation of extensive plains. Example, the gravelly or stony desert plains called reg in Africa. Reg in Africa. So mechanical weathering in arid and semi-arid areas wears back the mountain slopes. If you look at this picture over here, the mountain slopes have got reduced to this sort of plain over here. So mechanical weathering in arid and semi-arid areas wears back the mountain slopes to leave a gently sloping pediments or pediplains. Pediplains are also known as pediments. However, in the formation of a pediplain in arid or semi-arid condition, the hills are worn back to form a gently sloping plain, but some steep hills remain. Here you can find that the slope is gentle. However, some hills remain. Some hills remain due to their resistant nature. So these hills are termed as Inselberg. Please remember Inselberg. So this highly informative video comes to an end here. Please try to solve the multiple choice questions before watching the video for solutions, because you will be able to retain more when you solve the questions and then watch the video for solutions. Thank you.